Live. And hello, Facebook. I'm back. This is the second time today. They're like, man, she's jumping on a lot this week. Well, I've got a lot of women to bring forward that are very important, and I want to spotlight them this week. So that's why we're doing it. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and start with our podcast now. Hello, listeners, and welcome back to Lead Up for Women, Speak Up to Lead Up. I'm your host, Colleen Biggs, and I hope all of you had a wonderful, relaxing weekend. It is a different week than most of us anticipated, I believe, and I feel some of you may have fear, some of you may have indifferences, some of you may feel you're not wanting to speak up and use your voice, and we are always encouraging you to feel safe in our Lead Up for Women community to use your voice. And no matter what is happening this week with transitions of power, with transitions of parties, I want all of you to know that you can bring the peace within. You can have the peace within, and you can share your voice. And don't be afraid to have your opinions and share your voices. And let's please love and respect others in doing so. And I want to welcome our two guests that we have today on our podcast, Speak Up to Lead Up. We have Rebecca Zung, who is one of the top 1% of attorneys in the nation, which I can't wait to find out how she did that. And we also have Tricia Parido with us today, and she's a nationally certified coach and an international master addictions specialist. Ladies, welcome to the show. It's wonderful to have you both here today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes. So I want to go ahead and get started right away and jump in with Rebecca. We haven't met Rebecca before in our community. Tricia is a regular with our community, with our ladies, assisting and working with our community. And Rebecca, we are so honored to meet you today and would love to learn so much more about you and your success. So let me tell our listeners a little bit about you. You've been recognized by the U.S. News and World Report as the best lawyer in America. Congratulations, girlfriend. We love that. Also, as legal elite by Trend Magazine and recognized by her peers and the judiciary as AV preeminent rated in family law, the highest possible rating for an attorney. Wow. How impressive, Rebecca. You have a list of achievements here and what you've been able to accomplish. And I know all of our listeners are wanting to know, how did you do it? How did you get there? Because we know that this just didn't happen overnight and there was a journey. So would you mind taking us through that journey? And at what point did it become relevant to you in your life that you thought, I want to be an attorney and this is going to be my path?
Yeah, it was not an easy path. Of course, no one who's human gets an easy pass, right? So I graduated second in my class from high school. My dad's Chinese. He was a doctor, so he was very success oriented. So my version of rebelling was to drop out of college at 19 and get married, and I had 3 kids by the time I was 23. So I was like really far off the rails as far as my family was concerned. And so I had to go back to college. I finished my degree. Then I ended up getting divorced. And so here I was, a single mom. And I needed to figure out a way to put food on their table, on the kids' table, and a roof over their head. Honestly, the law school choice was a survival choice for me at the time. I was in my late 20s and I thought, I looked around and I thought, okay, where can I make money and, be able to support myself? So I went back to law school. University of Miami actually had a night program at the time. And so I was able to be teaching during the day, took care of my kids in the afternoon. I went to school from 7 to 10 at night. I would study till 2 in the morning. And my ex-husband would actually watch the kids while I was doing that. It was a little crazy that whole time, but luckily I was still young, so sleep wasn't as necessary. And so I ended up working for this family law attorney who was very well known and had a huge practice. And two family law attorneys who both were. And that's where I learned the craft then I started my own practice, and I just kind of, decided I wanted to have the top practice in Southwest Florida, which I ended up achieving. And from there, I'm really an entrepreneur at heart. So I really enjoyed the process of building the practice and creating it. But then once I was in what I call gerbil wheel mode, I didn't love it as much, to be honest with you. And so I merged my practice with two other guys about 3 years ago and moved to California. And that's, in March of 2020, I started my YouTube channel, and I teach people now how to negotiate with narcissists. I wrote a second book, which came out last year, called Negotiate Like You Matter, and Robert Shapiro wrote the foreword for that. And my YouTube channel has grown to over 100,000 subscribers and 6 million views in 10 months. So there are lots of people out there who are negotiating with narcissists. I have a program called Slay Your Negotiation with a Narcissist, and that's really what I focus on now. So it was really just, me deciding I wanted to achieve certain goals, and then doing that. Hasn't always been easy, that's for sure. Lots of naysayers and lots of, people who want to bring you down or whatever. You just have to like kind of put blinders on and decide like what it is that you want.
It's important that you said that, and thank you so much for sharing that with us, because I too was a single mother. My community knows that, and we have the choice to write our story moving forward and what that looks like. We don't have to stay the victim to what we feel life has handed us, but look at it to what life has handed us and the opportunities that we have and what is available. And I love that you said that you partnered at the end to build your practice even larger. And it takes community, it by bringing on two other partners and becoming now that entity, you're able to do so much more with your time, and you're able to spread the word about you, Rebecca, as an attorney, and really focus on the things that you love. Wouldn't you say that accepting the help of others and partnering with others is strategic in your world?
Totally. And it was not, an easy choice. I mean, it was funny because one of the lawyers in the community actually called one of my partners and said, why is she doing this? Is she sick? Does she have cancer? Like, who would walk away from this practice? Right. I just thought that was so funny. Because, equality of life is really, really important to me. And, I met my husband in law school. So we've been together 20 plus years at this point. And I have a daughter with him who's now 18, but she was just starting high school. And I really wanted to spend time with her. I knew that time was fleeting, and I really wanted to create and design a new life where I was available for her. So, it wasn't an easy choice, but sometimes you have to do I call them soul decisions. You have to, your soul is calling.
Yeah, absolutely. That is why I took the leap from corporate America. My soul was calling, and it was telling me that I needed to build a community for women where they can be seen and heard, and where they could be promoted, and where they could get their messages out, and where they could share and lift and respect and love and help other women. And it's just such a different world coming from corporate America. So I need to ask you, Rebecca, you specifically work with high conflict individuals. Is that correct?
Yeah.
What, during your path and your journey in getting here, how did you narrow in on high conflict personalities? What was that about? What was there an interest that you had? Was there a one time in court that brought that out and you were like, this is my fire, I love this? What was it that really honed
Yeah.
in on that skill?
Such a great question. I mean, obviously, I've dealt with a lot of narcissists in my practice. I've only ever practiced high conflict or high net worth divorce. I've represented billionaires and all kinds of people. And so, yes, I've dealt with narcissists in my practice, certainly. And then I've been speaking on negotiation for years. I was the keynote speaker of one of the American Bar Association events where I spoke on negotiation. I wrote a book on negotiation. So I really was thinking, okay, I'm going to talk more on negotiation. But I actually came across a book called The Covert Passive Aggressive Narcissist. And I started reading it really more because I was going to do a couple of videos, I thought, on how to negotiate with a narcissist. And I realized that I was actually dealing with two covert narcissists in my life, that I was actually being targeted by them. And they were causing such what I call drama, trauma, and chaos in my life. And I realized if I could be a victim, anybody can be a victim. I mean, anybody can be a victim because they don't attach themselves to you because you have so little value. They attach themselves to you because you have so much value. And it just started to I realized I have such a passion for this, and also that I could take what I learned about negotiation and apply it to what I've been learning about narcissists, and actually help people get momentum and forward movement in dealing with them. So I help people literally from all over the world in divorces and also in business situations who are dealing with narcissists, and I help them escape those relationships in a way where they actually feel like there was a fair outcome.
Yeah, I love that you said that, because women that I have met that are married to, have divorced, narcissists, have narcissists in their lives, they feel powerless. And I
Totally.
love that you said that they're attaching themselves to you because you're powerful. And so, in working with these types of people, high conflict people, what is your most favorite, I guess, what is your most favorite, and what advice would you give women that are dealing with narcissists in their lives, because they do feel powerless and very frustrated? And what is some of the advice that you're sharing with them on negotiating, or sharing with them on how they can fulfill their lives again? Because this has to be so rewarding for you, Rebecca, to
Oh,
do what
totally.
you do and
Oh,
help
totally. I
so
mean,
many.
I literally get over 100 emails a day, or direct messages where people tell me I've saved their lives. And I mean, it's like an incredible thing. So, I mean, I would say the main thing to remember is that you are actually the stronger one. It's like the great cover up, really. They want you to think that you're, the powerless one. And that's what they've sort of, uh, designed the situation to be. But the not so secret is that you are the stronger one. They are actually cowards, and they don't want you to think that. They don't want you to pull that curtain back and to know that. And so when you're dealing with them in a negotiation setting, my SLAY actually stands for develop a super strong strategy, create invincible leverage, which is really, really important. Anticipate what the narcissist is going to do and be 2 steps ahead of them, and then focus on you, your case, and your position. And if you do those steps in my SLAY or negotiation, you will see forward movement. There's no way that you can't.
And you can do it too. They
You
can all do it.
can.
Yes,
100%. I've
every
seen
single
the
one of them.
worst cases get turned around. Absolutely the
Wow.
worst. And what happens is people think, oh, I just need a good lawyer. That's all I need. Just find me a good lawyer. And I can tell you that 99% of lawyers do not understand narcissism. They make huge mistakes when dealing with narcissists. And so you need to create a situation where you are using your lawyer in the way that you need the lawyer to be used, but you have to develop the strategy and create that leverage. All the best leverage is sitting right in your hands. It's in your emails, it's in your text messages, it's on your social media, it's in the witnesses that you have. I promise you that if you this is what I teach, how to find those nuggets. Otherwise, your lawyers out there, I mean, how many people do you know who have tried to divorce a narcissist or just, you're dealing with them in a negotiation setting in any way, who have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars and years later and they're nowhere? That's because the lawyers don't understand what to do. So you can see I feel really passionate about it because 1 in 10 people apparently are narcissists, and they leave lots of headache in their wake. I mean, there's a lot of damage.
A lot of damage in their wake. Yes, I've met some in my life. I've dealt with some in my life. Didn't even know that I was dating some in my life until I looked back and realized, like, wow, now that I really understand what a narcissist is, I had no idea. But I can tell you that being a victim of that and being in that position, same with you, Rebecca, Tricia, we've had them in our lives. We're on the other side and we are powerful, and you are too. And I keep going back to that because the ladies that are listening today, and this is not just men that are narcissists, there's female that are narcissists too. Totally. I'm not talking.
Well, the two I had to deal with were both women.
That narcissist is probably not listening today anyway, so it doesn't even matter. The female's not listening. The ones that are listening are the ones that need to hear this message. And you need to just remember that what Rebecca just said is you possess all the power. You possess the strategy. You possess the witness. You already have everything you need. That attorney of yours is your guide, and you get to utilize them as your partner to help you execute what needs to be executed at a higher level, at the legal level. But you've got it all. You've got everything you need. So this is going to be the year for you to be able to get your life back, for you to feel powerful again. And Rebecca, I love your message today. And I love that what did it take to get into the 1%? Tell me, like, was that an award that was given? Was that, some type of study that was done? How did you get in the top 1% in your field?
Yeah, so I actually am part of the top 1% as far as the National Association of Distinguished Counsel, which is, they give the top 1% award. I think it really started back with becoming AV rated by Martindale-Hubbell, which you have to be practicing at least 10 years, and you have to have 18 to 25 other attorneys who actually know you and have been opposing counsel and have worked with you, who are also AV rated. They do it anonymously. And Martindale-Hubbell, they ask you for like 5, but then they ask those 5 people for 5 more. And then they even go to the judges who've actually, you've appeared in front of. So it's not an easy process. And to be honest with you, a lot of opposing counsel don't necessarily like you. So, it's kind of like hard sometimes, to get it. Yeah. But once you get AV rated by Martindale-Hubbell, then you start being noticed by, US News and some of the other, these awards are not from, people like those organizations that just, you pay for some whatever name or something. I mean, US News, Martindale-Hubbell, those are real things. So I was pretty proud to get there, and I just worked my butt off to get it. Before I forget, I want to make sure I tell your listeners I have a free giveaway, which is my free Crush My Negotiation prep worksheet. It's literally been downloaded by thousands and thousands of people now. And it's totally free. It's basically an ebook. It's 15 pages, and they can just go to winmynegotiation.com to get it. Just winmynegotiation.com.
Okay.
And my YouTube channel is youtube.com/Rebecca Zung.
Great. Yes. I was just going to ask you, for the women that are listening that want to get to know you better, that want to engage with you, that want to hear, how they can negotiate better in their lives, or they're just wanting to know how to take the first step. You talked about YouTube. I know they can follow you on on Instagram. So talk to us about how people can connect with you and where they can find your books.
Yeah, so the books are on Amazon, or if they go to my webpage, which is rebeccazung.com, and just go to the tab that says books, they're there too. My YouTube is youtube.com/Rebecca Zung. Instagram is Rebecca Zung. And I have a free private Facebook group too, which I have, I don't know, 21,000 members in or something, which people are certainly welcome to join as well. That's Narcissist Negotiators with Rebecca Zung. And the free Crush My Negotiation prep worksheet is winmynegotiation.com. And if they want to know more about the course, that's at slayyournegotiation.com.
I love that. Slay your negotiation. That is so awesome. Rebecca, we're honored to have you here today. And I can't thank you enough for the voices that you're allowing to speak up, for the women and men that you are saving, for the work that you do with so many, to provide them an opportunity to change their lives and be powerful. And
Thank you so much
powerless.
for having me. It's been my honor to be here.
Yeah, it's just amazing. So I hope you stay with us while we interview Tricia, because Tricia is, you know, I feel Tricia, the work that she does, you know, she's the one that helps everyone get rid of the addictions and the problems that they have going on so that they can get to the 1%, right? We talk about that because if you're not good here, then there's no way you can be powerful and master your success out there. You got to master yourself first. And we talk a lot about that. And I like I mentioned, Tricia's an international master addiction specialist, but she really helps people change their lives around because they don't even know they have addictions, do they, Tricia?
No, there's a whole world of not so normal faces of addiction.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Right.
the like, oh, it's 3:30. So that glass of wine today, starting a little earlier, isn't that big of a deal every day. All of a sudden turns into something a little bit different. So talk to us, Tricia, a little bit about, you know, your journey, because your journey led you here because of things and addictions that you had in your life. And that's what brought you to this place to want to help others change their lives. So tell our listeners a little bit about you.
I'm going to do my best to keep it, you know, real condensed. I kind of separate my life into two periods. So up to 25 and 25 to 50, right? So, you know, early in life, I think I was just kind of born wired this way. You know, very much had the perfectionist need, very much had a lot of control needs, but I also can look back to my dreams at the age of 4 of feeling not seen, not heard, not noticed, not valued, not feeling validated at all as early as 4. So I was constantly trying to prove something. And I have all my whys behind it. I know what they are. I've done the, you know, the seeking and the searching. And so that really stems to something that became a trauma for me that I had to learn to embrace a little bit later in life. But then there was also, you know, a lot of other traumas that came and presented in my life. So a lot, you know, several instances of sexual assault and sexual trauma, emotional abuse, things like that were highly prevalent in the first half, we'll say, of my life. But I also had to embrace a body that deemed it necessary to attack itself. So I have a very rare blood type, and I also have multiple autoimmune diseases that I didn't know I had until later in the second half of my life. But anyway, so there was just constant challenge after challenge after challenge. So regardless of how well I swam competitively, no matter how well I played the piano, no matter how early I read and did all of these, you know, things these achievements that I had to have, I still found myself smack in the middle of eating disorders, chemical addictions, and process and behavioral addictions. And so anyway, I've been on a recovery journey for about 25 years. And so it's come in waves and cycles and things like that. I did hang on to the alcohol piece for quite some time, and it didn't totally jack my life. I'll say that I did at the end. So pre 25, yes, there was a lot of trauma response and a lot of hiding and avoiding. So there was a lot of that. I need a beer. I'm upset. I need a cigarette. I'm pissed off. I need whatever it was, right? Like I need the ice cream. I'm super sad. And, all of these things. So there was a lot of that. The alcohol stayed throughout, despite, for a long time. And after his hysterectomy, at 29, I started to develop anxiety. So the anxiety came, and so I'd say, I'll just fast forward the last 5 years of before my journey now, my living free journey, where I am no longer held hostage by anything. The anxiety had increased. So my doctor prescribed Xanax. So that synergistic effect between the Xanax and the low level daily drinking really exacerbated. So I found myself stuck in a physiological addiction that I had never really experienced before. Yes, I was addicted to alcohol, but I never had that physical have to. And so once that hit, I was like, oh, no. Again, remember, I'm a control freak perfectionist, right? So I was like, no, I can't have this. It's dictating to me. And so I, went to treatment. But when I came out, it was like, okay, now what? What's next? There was nothing wrong in my life. I have a beautiful family. My husband's amazing. We have 5 amazing children. Our grandchildren are growing in numbers. And I was like, nothing needs to change there. And so I started looking, and I went to school, 5.5 years of study. I won't bore you with all of that, but I discovered the locus of the locus of control theory. And a light bulb went off, and it was, oh my gosh, I have been living in a completely external driven life, which was, I only see value in myself the way that others do. Because I got to this place where my thoughts, my feelings, my emotions, my opinions, my beliefs, my dreams, my desires, my aspirations, like I felt like nobody else saw any value or validity in them. And nobody was saying that to me. It was just, so I just, kept shoving everything in. So I was like, oh my gosh, I'm totally in this external thing. I kept waiting for something outside of me to bring me peace, to bring me comfort, to bring me joy, to make me fun enough at whatever event I was going to, or just whatever it was. Again, I need a cigarette because I'm irritated, agitated, annoyed. I need a drink because, the day was long and I'm just, it's time to unwind. Got to have a drink. I need to go shopping. I need something, anything bright and shiny that's going to, fill whatever void. And the same with food, right? Like I'm feeling empty, I'm feeling alone or whatever. And just being able to, fill from within. So it was, seeking people's approval outside even.
Yeah.
And so once I realized that I needed to let go of all of these things and move to an internal position of control, that's when everything just really started to flourish and to change, because I believe we do recover. I literally, after a 30-year battle with all different kinds of addictions and negative attachments, I literally live free. I've been eating, sleeping, and breathing my process for 8 years, and without waiver. And it's
So Howard, tell us how you're helping others. Tell us how, Tricia, you're helping others live free and free themselves of what they're living with their lives with by the external, being the one who dictates what they do, right? Being that victim. How are you helping them today?
I'd have to say that I think it's really important that I preface it with this: through add, edit, delete, right? And what I mean by that is you can do as many self-help, self-improvement, whatever programs that you want, but as long as you're trying to fit your life into that method or modality, it's not going to be lifelong, manageable, and maintainable. So even with my own program, my own process, with every lesson, every module, every tactic, every psychological skill set that I teach that person how to actually match it to them, their life, their needs. So we have to be able to look at it and say, okay, this is a really great concept or theory. Now, what does that mean to me? How can I add, edit, delete, make it my own, and give me those stepping stones, right? And I actually offer a talk on add, edit, delete. If anybody has a group or a function that wants me to help them talk to their people as they leave their whatever, whether it's a retreat or anything, so that they can learn how to take home whatever it is you're teaching, right? And have people actually be able to utilize it, because that's going to raise you up, right? So when I'm working with a treatment facility and I'm teaching them how to do that add, edit, delete, I'm helping them reduce their recidivism rates. When I'm working with their clients transitioning home, right? Because the now what's next? AANA is not for me. Or, you know what? I see AA and NA as what they are, a social support, not an assertive continuum of care. My program's an assertive continuum of care. And I could, that's a whole different podcast show, whatever, right? Like that's a whole different Oprah. So I teach them how to. So when we're looking at the life balance wheel, they're defining each category: spirituality, family, work, recreation, everything. We have guidelines, but then we erase them all. And it's like, now let's define it for you, right? And how they hear. I teach them how to hear through a different filter, so that the message that's coming in can be translated in their language.
Yeah,
in the way that we need to hear it.
It enforces the fact that we're not all the same, right? So we can't, if we're a round peg, we're not going to fit in a square hole. So I love that you just kind of erase that and then redefine it for what it is that they need in their lives, because everyone needs something a little bit different. It's not one size fits all when it comes to the care that we need when we're adding, when we're editing, and when we're deleting things out of our lives.
100%.
Right?
So what we all need to have, balance, a true balance. We need to know ourselves on all 6 of the primary categories. And I don't need to get into that either, but we do everything in a very narrow perspective in the world. So it's not, life balance isn't homework and how physically fit we are. It is so much deeper. We look at 14 categories. Yeah. So, you know, and then we need impulse control. We need to know the difference between impulsivity and knee jerk. We look at emotion regulation, distress tolerance, what true effective self-soothing is. We look at assertiveness, because we can live for ourselves first without feeling guilty or selfish. And we can also live free from all of those negative attachments that are holding us hostage, I don't care what it is, without feeling punished or restricted. So if we have this weight loss goal, right, like we need to make that lifelong manageable and maintainable. All of these fad diets that make you, crash and, lose all the weight, like, okay, great, but how are you going to stay there? So unhealthy to go up and down. So we look at everything. We look at our relationship with food, what that fuel means, because again, as somebody who's been 25 years anorexia free, yay. We have to change our relationship with food. We have to change our relationship with our fitness regimen. So, I have made it a very big point to be able to touch all of these bases. So therefore I have 13 different coaching credentials to support our journey. Yeah. Whether that's family systems, relationships, again, food addiction, all of the things.
Tricia, do you have something for our guest today, like a download or?
I am going to be dropping that into the comments.
Okay,
we have
great.
We have a few links, and I just need to, as it kind of popped up a week early, I just need to make sure that the link is fresh and is working. So I'm going to be putting in there a free link to my 5-day breathe book, which allows you that space to sit and truly do some of that cultivating. So it's there's 4 prompts per day for 5 days to really help you get ready for the what's next. And anybody that would like it, I do have a worksheet that's the 10 steps, kind of gives you an overview of what we actually work on.
That's beautiful. And for all of those of you listening, we do go live on Facebook as well. But for those of our listeners that are listening through the podcast apps, it'll be at your fingertips. You'll just be able to click on that link, and then you can go ahead and download the information that Tricia's talking about. How else can people find you, Tricia? Because I know you have a specific name. We don't find you by Tricia. Because you have a name out there for your recovery.
Actually can now find me. And
Okay, good.
That people can find me by Tricia Parido. You Google my name and it's all coming up. LinkedIn, the whole 9 yards. Instagram is now I am Tricia Parido. And so Facebook, I have Tricia Parido, which is my personal page, but I don't care, poke around, whatever. My life's an open book. And then there's turningleavesrecovery.com. I do not have social media groups any longer. My clientele feel much safer off of social media. So I have connected an app that you can be invited to and be able to join us for some challenges and things like that we might be doing. And so turningleavesrecovery.com, triciaparido.com. Either way, have links to schedule a cultivate and collaborate or a find my right fit, or just a plain old 30-minute meet and greet. It's totally fine with me.
I love that, Tricia. And if someone out there is thinking, I really want to make some changes in my life in 2021, what advice would you give them?
Seek what you need to move out of your external drive. The world as a whole right now is super externally moving right now. I mean, there's a lot of things going on. And I generally, steer away from talking about, world events.
We can't ignore them. Yeah,
we can't ignore them. So, we're looking to something way above us, way outside of us to correct what's going on. And if I can motivate you in any way, shape, or form to get into that internal position, start leading by the example that you want to see in the world, make your life shifts and your life changes that are going to allow you to see yourself the way that you want to see yourself in the world, and lead by example within your own home, your own neighborhood, your own community. We have to work our way outward. Sure, the leaders, etc., they all have their jobs to do, but if we want to really incite social change, it has to come from within.
Absolutely.
We have to stop relying on things outside of ourselves to make the changes we want to see.
Thank you, Tricia. And Rebecca said it, we are powerful already. There's no need for us to look outside to external for us to already be powerful. We are powerful. And if you want to be seen differently and live your life differently in 2021, I definitely recommend tapping into the services that Rebecca have mentioned that she has available in her YouTube videos. Go to Amazon, grab her book. Same with Tricia. She has some free downloads and some opportunities on her website, turningleavesrecovery.com. These are, ladies, we're always needing to fill our toolboxes with some additional tools so that we can work on our lives and build a better life for ourselves, because we are worth it. We are totally worth having that life, and we just need to believe that. And once you believe that, then you'll be able to go to work on that. So we also have some events that are free all the time for you to be able to join in on that. We have Teaching Tuesday webinars every Tuesday where members like Tricia and Rebecca come forward. They teach on their genius, so they get the floor for an hour. So these are free for you to come to every Tuesday. I'll put the link in there. We have Lunch and Learns where you can meet other ladies in the community and do some networking to be educated, motivated, and inspired for 90 minutes. And of course, we always invite you to join our Facebook group, the Lead Up for Women community. And it's a great place for you to thrive and market and share your genius with the world and what you're doing. So next week, our next guest that we have is going to be Elena and Dr. John DeMartini. Some of you might know them. They're a father and daughter team of human behavior health. And I really am going to enjoy having them with us to discuss a little bit more about human behavior. This is one of those years where we're going to learn a lot about ourselves, ladies. So hold on for the ride, because that's what we're doing this year. How to be our best selves in 2021 is what we're working on. And I want to just remind all of you, Remember, you are the only you that has ever been. You are the only you that will ever be. Think about that. How you pioneer your future and how you show up to be seen is up to you. So I want to thank all of you for joining us this episode. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Tricia. It was an honor to have you both here. We look forward to seeing you all next week. Until then, be you and be strong. Take care, ladies.